Okay, we're back. Episode 7.
Yes, I know. Hard to believe that this much time, like it was a thought and an idea, and here we are.
I know. It really does speak to just going forward with something, even if you're not aiming for perfect, just to do it
Hmm.
and how much can happen as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking of things happening, how are you today?
Yeah. So I feel better now that I'm in my happy place here. But yeah, it was waking up to all that. Well, we had a lot of rain last night, and which is no, rain's a good thing for the flowers and everything. But apparently, Fall River seems to just be in this zone of getting extra, like it did at the storm. So,
It was just a torrential downpour for a long
yeah, it woke
time
me
and
up like it
thunder
almost felt
lightning.
like bucket, like a waterfall was out. It was so much, and
Yep.
but I'm one of those people who loves rain when I'm sleeping. I don't
Yeah.
know if you're like that. Like I love the sound. I love storms. So I wasn't thinking much till my husband this morning was like, everything, all the roads are closed. They
Wow.
closed some of the schools because there was power loss in some areas. Gas stations flooded.
Wow.
So my street itself, though, was okay. It was surrounding, like
There's like
North
no
Main
place for the
Street.
water to go when there's
No,
that
I mean, hey,
much.
it's called Fall River, right? I mean, there is a river, but I think people forget. But it was chaos. There were cops because some people weren't warned. They left to go to work, and then um, what appeared to be a little puddle ended up being feet of water. So
Wow.
feel bad because some people I know lost their vehicles today.
Ooh.
The engines and stuff got submerged. There's a lot of images going around and videos of cars submerged. So I just had to make sure the coast was clear
Yeah.
to head in, and because a lot of the streets, like even to get to the highway, the exits were closed. So,
Wow.
but yeah, I'm good now, and I probably won't have to water my plants for a few days. So I'll
So you've had an adventure even before we started
yeah,
talking
yeah,
today.
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's see. I'm in Raffles land. Like the
Yeah,
fundraiser is up and running and I'm in the roller coaster of emotions of, navigating it now that it's live.
yeah,
And once this episode is aired, the raffles will have wrapped
it'll
up.
mhm,
And so I never really know how it's going to turn out. So we'll
yeah,
find out.
yes,
But it's such an emotional roller coaster along the way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice to have this distraction today that we can talk
Yeah,
about
actually, I
other
I was
things.
looking forward to it. I mean, there's always little fires to put out or things going on, but,
Yeah, life will
I
happen.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to weave in here is that I want folks to know that we are unedited. The editing that's done on this podcast is literally I'll take maybe a second or two off the beginning, like right after we hit record, and maybe a second or two at the end, like of just dead
yeah,
space after
yeah,
we say goodbye. Um, and I think the only other editing I've done is when I misspoke in the last podcast on the video. I put up a little thing that said this is the correct word I should have used. Other than
yeah,
that,
yeah,
we're raw and unedited. And so if
yep.
you hear an awkward pause, it's because we're awkwardly pausing. um,
Be like the Jess and Kerry show, raw and unedited.
Yeah, it is. And I think there's a real value in that because so much of what we hear is so polished, which can
Yeah.
lead to beauty and, a really seamless experience for the viewer or the listener. But at the same time, I like that we went for this in a very human way.
I do too. It's a and I think, like, you and I have talked about, like, Heather Cox Richardson and then
Yes.
her and her friend Joanne, and
Joanne.
they're the same, like, they don't edit it, they just throw it out there, and it's, And I think that's one of the endearing things I like when I watch them.
Yeah, me too. And actually, that leads me to my quirk.
Yeah.
So, on the topics of irks and quirks, I'll lead with the quirk because my quirk today is Heather Cox Richardson. She is such a fucking badass. She
She
has
really
been
is.
at this forever. Her
Yes,
daily letters, like, I don't even know that she's missed one. Like, it's
she
been
really hasn't missed
years.
anything. And when she's off, like if she's gonna be off, meaning like traveling, whatever, she
Yeah,
still records and still prepares something.
it's amazing. Just the stick to
Yeah.
itiveness, I don't know, it's just a level of commitment that I'm so inspired by. And I think of how much good she's done for so many people and keeping us informed in a way that feels approachable. It's just,
Yeah, it's like
she's a hero of mine.
educational.
She's
I feel like I've been educated by her. Um,
absolutely.
it's and there's something about her that's wholesome. I don't know if that's the right word to use, or she's dropped a few f-bombs, which makes me happy.
I know.
I think it's just more like she's just very American.
And it's that humanity.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's something that both of us value. I see that in her. I mean, she talks about cleaning her bathroom before doing the recording with Joanne. Like that's a Saturday ritual for her. She cleans her
Yeah,
bathroom. She goes kayaking. So like, I love
yes,
the humanity of what
yeah,
she shares.
yeah, me too. And she's been a bit of a beacon of
Yes.
light in this shit show.
Shit show fuckery. Choose your description. Yeah. So that's my quirk. How about you? Irk, quirk. Got
Yeah,
anything there?
I have some silly irks and quirks, like,
Yay.
because like my biggest quirk, and I don't know if it's age, is is that the packages should be easier to open. I was so
They
pissed off last
should.
night cooking dinner because I had I was opening things and I had to keep breaking out scissors because
Hmm.
things wouldn't tear open, and I was like, that we have AI, which is pissing
Hmm.
us all off,
Hmm.
that can spit out things in a matter of seconds, but we haven't mastered packaging.
It can't open a package for us either. It's not going to happen. I remember one of my heart teachers, um, his name is Edward S.B. Brown. There's a movie about him, a documentary about him. And I remember seeing him having an absolute hissy fit over trying to take the insert out of an olive oil bottle. The little
Oh, yeah,
insert that
that's one of the things
it's one
I
of
have
the
been
things.
pissed off about. Like, I literally cannot peel that little thing, and I'm like, "Ah." Yeah, same. I've had multiple hissy fits.
It was so endearing to watch him.
I want to see that now because it's
I'll ferret up the link and put it in the show notes. So
yeah, yeah. I'm just like, what is this?
that's a legitimate irk.
It's a big irk for me. Yes,
How about a quirk for you?
a quirk. I'm thinking. I don't know if I'd consider it a quirk. Um, I'm trying to think of a quirk, like things I do like, because I
Hmm.
have lots of things I do like. I think, well, maybe it is considered a quirk because Sarah, I'm gonna really be upset when she goes back to school because she's spoiling me in the morning. And
Oh,
I feel like she's a barista that lives with me, and
love that.
but so she's got like she'll go and get like like the cups you get with the straws and she makes like the ice, and then but she makes like these different like ice lattes, or she calls them her own refreshers. You know what I mean? Like with
Wow.
teas um and I'm loving it.
How could you not?
I'm like so loving it, and I don't want to do it myself. So I'm like, what am I gonna do when she goes back to school? I'm
Wow.
gonna have to. But,
That's so lovely.
I guess it is a little quirk because it's like it's the whole experience of the ice and the cup and the straw and the
It's a
whole thing.
ritual.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, so you've done an irk and a quirk. I've done a
A quirk.
quirk. Oh, I've got my irk.
You didn't have yeah, with
Got my irk. Deep breath. This fucking administration
well,
that
yeah.
is like it's it's always irking me, always.
Yes, me
But
too.
there's some the reflecting pool has been a tipping point for me for some reason.
No, it has for me too. I kinda do you follow Father Nathan Monk on Facebook?
No.
Instagram?
Oh,
Alright,
I'm writing this down.
yeah,
Okay.
he's a defrocked Orthodox Russian priest, but he's
Oh, love
American, and
that.
his real name is Monk, like his last name. But I don't know where he gets his sense of humor, but there's somebody he follows and trolls people that and then he shares it, like, so it was somebody that it was like a husband and wife had their picture taken with Hegseth, and Hegseth's wearing a suit and his it looks like he put on weight, so the button of the suit is, like, really, like, tight, and he look and Father Nathan Monk comments on it, "That button is the hardest working body in Washington, D.C. right now." And then he comments again, "They should hire that button to fix the reflecting the
That button is
reflecting
what we
pool."
need.
And it helped shift because I realized, like, we're all losing our shit over this reflecting pool. Like,
And it's
I
just
can't wrap my head around it. I can't.
the straw that's broken the camel's back yet again.
Again.
And
Yep.
again and again and again and again. It's just the thing that is getting me is just the lack of oversight.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, you know, he's taking this idea of don't ask permission, just to ask for forgiveness to a whole nother level because he doesn't even care about forgiveness. Like he's
No.
just not asking permission for anything.
No, he just wants to do what he wants to do and
And he
everybody back
does.
off.
And he does. And he's getting away with it.
I think that's the part that I struggle with, I'm struggling with the whole thing, and I have been struggling with the whole thing,
Yeah.
um, and it's I keep using the I keep thinking when I was a kid and I'd watch Mighty Mouse, and there'd be,
Hmm.
like, a plane crashing.
I want Mighty Mouse right now. I
I
really
know
want Mighty
I
Mouse,
know,
please.
"Here I come to
To
save the
save the
day." Yeah.
day.
I loved freaking Mighty Mouse, and, that plane, though, they never really showed it crash. It just, like, went on and on and on in the cartoon, and that's kinda the feeling I get with this is it's like, when is this gonna crash and burn? Because it just
Yeah.
seems like it's a nosedive. That's the part I keep having a hard time
And
accepting.
how much tragedy is happening in that
Right.
dive.
It's like a when you hear the term, like a
Yeah.
destroyer, like, I'm like that like, we're witnessing it
Yeah.
happen, you
Yeah.
know? Um, he's
Yeah.
just
I
not like
was
the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. It's just like
Oh my
destroy
gosh. You're right.
that's what he reminds me of, yeah.
Oh my goodness. We need the Ghostbusters and Mighty Mouse right now. And it's so heinous. And
Mhm,
I was I was watching a live stream the other day,
mhm.
and the host of the live stream, who I love, like adore, they were talking about the Americans and how they, you know, fill in the blank after that.
Right,
And it
yeah.
was all I could do not to put in the chat, not all Americans, not all
Correct.
of us. And then at the same time, I'm like, oh, this is too close to the thing that I despise, which is when men say it's not all men.
Correct.
And I'm like, oh,
Yes.
no,
But
it's not all
I've been
Americans, but we're all complicit in this in some way. It, uh, it
mhm.
it's really hard to reconcile.
It's interesting you say that because have had the same experience of, like, not wanting to be lumped in.
Right.
There's an assumption, I think, with maybe I'm assuming, but, like, all of you voted for Trump,
Mhm.
or, like, where you and I didn't vote for Trump, or you know what I'm saying? Or it's like, no, not all of us Americans are happy about what's happening, or but, I have done a lot of deep soul-searching diving about, like, in the past, where was I complicit? You know, where wasn't I paying attention? Because I'm not that was a lot of us just weren't aware
Mhm.
or paying deep attention to what, what was. I feel like over the past couple years, I've been really educating myself about more recent history, I guess, like, you know,
Yeah, and I
1980s to now about, what has gotten us to where we're at.
I also feel like in our communities, sort of spiritual communities, spiritually based communities, um, and even like in the personal growth communities that I swim in, have swum
Yeah.
in, um, there was this, and probably still is for a lot, this idea of that, like, well, if we don't acknowledge it, you
Yeah.
know, we're going
Yeah.
to rise above it. We're going to create a different energy. And then, I mean, it brought both of us to a tipping point of like, no, there needs to be an acknowledgement at the same time as, holding that energetic space. Like they both need to be maintained,
Mhm.
so that we're not being driven off the edge of a cliff by a raging lunatic.
Right. I think that's the part is, like, at a certain point, right? Like, you and I've had talks about family, like,
Mhm.
like, as they age, or their own autonomy, their ability to make decisions, but
Yeah.
there comes a point where you take the keys. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're gonna murder people if I let
Yeah.
you drive. Like, comes a point where a family or an executive decision has to be made, and you take the keys away from the lunatic or from the person who doesn't remember how to drive, or
Yeah.
so that's
Or
the
never
part I
properly
think.
learned in the first place.
Right. So it's like, okay, here we are in our 250th year,
Yeah.
and we've had these checks and balances supposedly that,
Mhm. They are
that
not
are not
working.
working, but it's like, isn't there a button somewhere? Like, I guess I think like it's time to pull the emergency red light and
Yeah.
be in eject, take them out of the seat.
Yeah.
And that's the part I think I am struggling with, is it's not just such a huge disappointment and grief and all these other emotions coming up
Yeah.
around that this person is in the office of the
Yeah.
presidency,
Horrifying.
but also that the people who are supposed to work for us, our senators, our reps, um, justices, all these other humans are still, they're not choosing a, the path that we elected them for,
Yeah.
so to speak, or and
Yeah.
they're all self-serving.
Yeah. And so it's really gotten to me. Like
Yeah,
it's I feel like I'm riding the irk wave around this constantly, and it just hit like a new high this week for
the
me.
reflecting pool did me in because they showed an image of a baby duck, like a duckling that had died in the reflecting pool. Um,
It's all the crap they're pouring into it now.
yeah, and it was, I don't one it is a kryptonite of mine to see, animals suffering.
Of
Like, I
course.
have a hard time I have a very hard time with it, I always have. I
Yeah.
have a hard time getting it out of my head, and, but also it was like he got rid of the turbines, I forgot, because of their hurting the birds, but then it's okay for this to happen.
Yeah.
That's the part, it's like you can't nothing makes sense.
No, it doesn't. And it's like, how do we navigate this with the the people, this brings us to our topic for today.
Yes.
How do we navigate this with the people that we know? You know, friends, family, acquaintances. We got this great question from Barbara, right?
Barbara, yes.
Yeah, let me read it so that we know,
Yep.
so that folks can, hear how it was submitted. So Barbara asked how to reconcile continuing friendships with age-old friends who support Trump even though they have received benefits that were in place because of Democratic administrations. They have no problem admitting they voted for Trump even though they know I'm liberal. I want to call them on it, but I know it's kind of useless. Then I feel guilty. I'm also very non-confrontational. Like, I think we are all dealing with this
Yes,
in our
100%.
lives. Like, and how do we do it?
Yeah. I mean, I go back, this is a personal thing, is like is and you've known me for so long. So you've
Yeah.
seen me go through my own journey of therapy and trainings,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with difficult people
Yes.
and and how to navigate certain relationships that might be within what I some people, like, I don't want to use the word narcissistic because it's an overused term these
Yeah.
days. Um, whether we use emotionally mature or whatever, just and one of the training tools in therapy is almost like to just keep the relationship shallow, which is
Yeah.
kind of sad, but it's a way of coping without confrontation. Um, so I have I'm very fortunate where a lot of my family is Democrat,
Mm-hmm.
even though, like, I grew up with a father who was very Republican. He was like Michael J. Fox from Family Time.
We are pulling
Um,
from our childhoods today.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But my dad had that kind of. He was that kind of a Republican growing
Yeah.
up. He's a banker,
Yep.
and he believes in capitalism, like all of those things. And then, but I also watched my dad
Mm-hmm.
in 2016. He went and changed party.
Wow.
Um, he refused to be a part of it.
Good
Uh,
for him.
he also wants a woman in power.
Oh, love that so much.
So it's like I've been able to see transformation or
Sure.
people who still choose their morals and values over, that are rather than this evil. I have no other word for it. So
Yeah.
it's, but then I have like an aunt and uncle that are on the MAGA bandwagon. And when I
Yeah.
listen to them, I hear hate.
Yeah.
I realize there's bigotry and ignorance around their bigotry
Yeah.
because they don't think it is. They'll and it's like I heard my aunt go off like she hates doctors. Like it's I don't know, it's like it just makes zero sense. So but I have to.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first started thinking about this question,
Mhm.
I thought about there's really no one answer to this. There are a lot of answers depending on who it is, the situation,
Correct.
everything. I think of it as on a big spectrum and of how I deal with this. Like there's a huge spectrum of how I'm dealing with it.
Yep.
On the one end, it has a lot to do with the nature of the relationship.
Correct. Yep.
On the one end, it's the people I have no connection with whatsoever,
Yep.
and I could give a shit. And
Yep.
I'm going to speak very plainly
Yep.
and, you know, wave my flag for what I believe in.
Mhm.
And, and I think this outlet that we have here is part of that for me. Uh,
Yes. Mhm.
and so that's that end of the spectrum. And then on the other end of the spectrum are the people that are really in my life in a big way, and I care about them deeply. And it would be very difficult, if
Mhm.
not impossible, to completely cut ties or distance myself from them.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, so there's the spectrum of people in my life. And then there's also the spectrum of how I deal with things.
Yep.
So on the one end, it's like I could give a shit what you think. I'm going to be completely unabashedly telling you how fucked up I think things are
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
wrong I think you are in your opinion. I'll try to back it up with facts as much as I can.
Yep.
And then on the other end, it's like the people that, or the instances where I know speaking my truth is going to create intense division and suffering, probably for both people.
That's a good point though, to that it's like what you do have to think of that, like, is any good gonna come of this?
Yeah.
You know,
Or will
is
it just dig
my
somebody in
energy worth
deeper?
this?
Will it
Yeah.
dig somebody in deeper into the opinion?
Mhm.
And I also think that it's easy to think, well, if somebody doesn't see it the same way I do, I should just like exit them out of my life, or me exit out of their lives. Yeah, I'm out of here. But change doesn't happen that way. Change requires
Mhm.
dialogue. And I also
Mhm.
have to consider like the question of how did we get here? And I think there's such, you use the word ignorance.
Mm.
I think there's a healthy dose of ignorance in a lot of what people are coming from because of misinformation and
Yeah.
disinformation.
I would agree 100% with that. Yeah. It's, like, I think of like Barbara put being I don't consider myself confrontational.
Hmm.
Like, it takes a lot. Although, sometimes I can go from here to here with certain like, Sarah and I were at CVS,
Yeah.
and there was a man,
Oh,
an elderly white man
okay. This
with
is
a
telling me a
table
lot already. Go ahead.
set up where he had a petition going, where he wanted people to sign it to, abolish abortion in Massachusetts.
Oh,
So,
wait a minute. Where was he?
CVS in Fall River
He was
on
at
President
the
Ave,
CVS.
and
That's mind-boggling to me. Go ahead.
he said, he was trying to get me and Sarah to come over, and I went. I feel like I was, like, ready, and Sarah was like, "Oh, let's go," like, it was.
You were ready to go in and throw
'Cause I'm
down
like,
with this
"Wrong
gentleman.
state, buddy, like, what the," "Do you have a vagina?" She's like, I was
I don't know who I'm rooting for in this instance,
yeah,
Sarah or you.
I was like, she was in, 'cause I that is one of those things where this happened, like, a month ago. I'm trying to remember, but it is one of the things I think about. It comes up, and I think about it, and I'm like, I think about it because I know he's not the only person like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
that
I mean, if we're talking about that spectrum, could you give a
Mhm.
shit about him?
I don't. Yeah, and that's what is, but I saw people at, like, signing it, and I
Right.
got so angry,
Yeah.
just so angry. It's like, you need to move because that's never gonna happen here. Like, it's,
That's
it's
so
never.
scary though too, because there are so many things happening in this country now that
Yes.
I think many of us held that's not going to happen here, and it's fucking happening.
Well, I realized, like, it's a lot. I think that's why I went from 0 to 100, and
Yeah.
Sarah was like, "Ma," because it really was out of character for me to go from, you know, to psychotic real quick.
Wow.
Um, well, I guess I'm using that as an example because, like I was thinking about my aunt and uncle
Yeah.
and my cousins. My cousins, like that was one of Barbara's questions, is my cousins have benefited from
Yeah.
democratic services, from down to state insurance to, you know what I mean, like to
Yeah.
the things that my aunt and uncle seem to be. And my aunt and uncle are very smart people. That's the part I like. They are educated, high IQ, and I'm
Mhm.
so for that reason, like you said, I don't get into just because it's not something I would win, if that makes sense. Like they're not gonna get
Yeah.
it, and they're
Yep.
gonna, and it would just. create chaos in the family.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think in those instances, the way I hold it, this is so tricky though. Um, the way I've been holding it is that I want to be maybe more forthright in my own example of my actions
yeah, yeah. The only
because
thing oops, no, go ahead, I'll
no,
tell you.
go for it.
I was just gonna say the one thing I have said is to them, I've said it to them both, and they didn't really know what to say to me, as I just said, "I love you both, but I am nowhere near anywhere in alignment with your beliefs around this.
Yeah.
So I don't wanna have a conversation about it
Yeah. I think those
at all."
boundaries are really, really, really smart. And
Yeah.
the fact that you stated it, like you
Mhm.
owned it, because I think there's a there's a way that people will be present with others
Yeah.
that by not speaking up the way you did, which was really skillful,
Mhm.
it's almost like you're agreeing because you're not saying you have a different opinion.
Yeah, and that's what I heard from Barbara's question is that's
Yes.
where the guilt is niggling because it's like you feel almost because a lot of these people who are MAGA,
Mhm.
I don't mean to sound, but I'm gonna just say it. So do are very strong personalities, I find, that
Yeah.
are willing to get into confrontation
Mhm.
and fight. And I don't know about you, I've never been comfortable in that kind of a arena.
Um, not overly. I don't know. It's there are times I think it's the firewalking instructor in me and I mean, I'm a sort of an adrenaline junkie and
Yeah. Yeah.
um there are times when I'm very willing to throw down and I don't mean physically. I mean like
Yeah.
let's like take the
Get
gloves
into
off and have this out in a
yeah,
conversation.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm very, very willing to do that and kind
yeah.
of have fun doing it. But if it's not, and I really had to like examine that at a certain point and going, oh, when am I getting into these like kerfuffles because it feels good to like duke it out,
Yeah,
but it's resulting in bringing things to a painful point.
correct. Yeah.
So I had to like
Mhm.
get myself in check, put my lightsaber back and turn the lightsaber off. Don't disembowel anybody today, Carrie. Uh, and realize like there are times for discernment. And I think that balance of being able to state truth
Yeah,
in a very matter of fact, I'm just really impressed with how you dealt with that. To
yeah,
say it in a matter of fact way, get a clear boundary set and to not get baited into like
yeah,
going round and round in a circle that's not going to end
mhm,
is really a lovely strategy.
mhm. Yeah, and it's one of those times too, I was in a way proud of myself because
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was I felt I had to say something like, "This is not an alignment, I can't participate in a conversation
Hmm.
on this without it." I knew it wouldn't go in a good direction. And also out of, all the family, there are others that are more what I would put in the adjacent family adjacent, like
Like
friendship.
really close friends, like
Yeah, that have been around our whole life that are that there's some of that too. And
how so? What do you mean?
so one is like this woman, it's a husband and wife that they've been to every family
Yeah.
event, like so they've been there my whole life.
Yeah.
And it's the they're both Republicans, but the husband is more like he considers himself a Republican, but not a supporter, if that may anymore. He
Oh, and
was.
that's like a real thing. There are people who are again, it's a spectrum, right?
Yeah,
There are
yeah,
people who are conservative leaning,
yeah,
have been,
Yeah.
Republican maybe their whole lives, but they don't agree with Trump. And then there's the MAGA end of the
Yeah, so
extremists.
he's okay, but his wife has gone down the MAGA
Hmm.
conspiracy theory,
Hmm.
Christian nationalism,
Oof.
and it's and that so that has been an experience in the family because I've seen you've met my stepmom,
Yeah.
and she's got a certain point where the rubber band snaps, and we have seen her lose her shit.
Oh, die. Yeah.
And yeah, that did not go well.
Mm.
It didn't go well. It's they had to leave.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
Yeah.
but when I look at it, I think I don't know that it would have could have gone a different way if that makes sense.
Well, I
Uh,
do think of your example, though. I think it's a very,
yeah.
very good one that
I
you
mean,
can state, hey, I don't agree with you. This is
yes.
a boundary that I have with you.
Like we can't talk about it. And what was happening because I wasn't a participant, I was a witness and in that one. We were all a witness.
Yeah.
Is the the woman I'm referring to wouldn't necessarily back down,
Hmm.
with that being stated in a way,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
stated differently than the way I did, but in a way it was stated that, we're not gonna listen, we can't talk about this because,
Right.
and she just kept,
Yeah. She kept going.
yeah, and like she's, it it just didn't go well. They ended up leaving. So
I
it,
am curious what's happened with that dynamic since, because this is a
mhm.
relationship that's been, and you don't have to share if you don't want to. I'm just
No,
curious.
it's the dynamic has gotten awkward.
Hmm.
It's been awkward and weird because that lady is still, um, she's still invested in full brainwash. I have no other word for it. Like she
Yeah.
listens to some pastor that has 100 million followers internationally, and this woman claims she's a prophetess that hears from God and then relates how Trump and these things line up politically in a way to justify his actions. So to me she's brainwashed. Like I don't know that there's any getting through to her to the
Well,
yeah, and the point now that her she's having a problem at home with her
wow.
husband. So and I know that there's between my parents and that there's been some reaching out, olive branching, but it's nothing. They're not invited to the functions anymore.
Well, I think it's actually an interesting perspective to think about, because I do believe that that whole MAGA um, group, and it's generalized, but please forgive me.
Mhm.
There are so many
No,
different
it's so much.
levels of
Yeah,
it. Um, it is like a cult. And when I can remember, like, oh, this is
yeah,
cult like, you
yeah.
know, cults operate on fear. Fear's not reasonable, fear's not rational, like it's survival instinct only. And that it's psychologically extremely difficult to get out
I would agree with that.
of
Yeah,
a cult. And so if I can remember, like, oh, and I think so much of this is self-management
I agree with that too. Yes.
of, if I can remember what I know about fear, and if I can have discernment about, okay, so how can I hold my voice? And I don't mean hold it back, I mean hold it in a way that I can state my truth
Mhm.
and then not take the bait, and understand that whatever they do from their side is their reaction, and probably from fear. If I don't participate, there's no fight.
Correct. Yeah,
It takes
yeah,
two
yeah,
parties to fight.
yeah. It does, and it is. I'm like with you, Barbara, where I feel is a important piece to acknowledge your like, so you don't feel complicit,
Yes.
feel that
Mhm,
that you're not speaking up for your truth, you know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
but I think there is a delicate way of how do you do that without it turning into, uh, just this defensive where nobody wins because you just, you
Just throw
know.
gasoline on a fire.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like, growing up, I remember, like, the neighborhood I was in. I don't know if I've talked about this in the podcast, like, we'd
No.
have neighborhood water balloon fights, like,
No.
um, they would be, like I'd be put in the I remember once my brother and I'd be put in raincoats. We'd have bags of water balloons, and my
Yeah,
mother was a hairdresser, and we'd have the bottles they use for color filled
yeah.
with waters, like, and they'd make us hide, so when the neighbors would come home, we'd come out and just, like, ambush
Sure.
them.
Yeah.
But it's all fun. Does that make sense? Like,
Yes.
it happened to us, and it would move through the neighborhood.
Yeah.
uh, they would do, like, practical jokes, so if you knew this neighbor was a Reagan fan, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was, or, what I forgot, was it who went against Reagan? Was it Mondale? I was trying to remember, so long ago.
Let's see. Yeah.
But I remember, like, in the night, my dad would sneak out with, like, Ronald Reagan signs, and, like, they'd be all in their yard the next day, but it would be, like it was hilarious. Everybody would like, "Oh my god," you know what I mean? Like,
And
and
that's
they'd
the
have,
thing.
like, these fun political fights on the front lawn, like, "You asshole, ha 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 ha," but it was,
Right.
like it wasn't sinister, it wasn't,
Yeah.
so I grew up, witnessing that, of course, and then now it's just not safe to talk about.
No,
I think that's part of the problem. I think those of us too that are on the left,
mhm.
whether we're left center, left way, however far left,
Yep.
um, a lot of us I'm encountering, including myself, don't always feel safe.
That's a good point because
Mhm.
in the neighborhood, it was safe
It
to
was.
voice a different opinion. There wasn't this extreme division that we have now. And I'm just in my experience of life, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's accurate from my experience, but historically, other people might have other opinions. I feel like there was a huge tipping point after 9/11.
Yes.
You
100.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
as a result of that, the Patriot Act happened, and the climate in this country changed dramatically,
It did.
which planted the seeds or planted more seeds on top of what was already
Yeah.
sort of that Reagan
But
era shift
you
that
are
was
right.
already starting to happen.
I mean, I remember after 9/11, um, because we're Lebanese,
Right.
and we had a and my uncles, they're all in spirit now. My Arabic family, majority are in spirit, except for my cousins now. But they look like the freaking bombers. The
Yeah, if
they
we
look
if the profiling would
Yeah, and I remember like for the first time having that experience of the family being a little afraid to be out in public.
yeah, and I think that's one of the things that if I were in a situation
Hmm.
and recognizing, like, if I voice my opinion right now, I'm gonna be in danger in some way.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not voicing my opinion.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
it's like, again, it's such a spectrum of where
It's
we speak up, when we speak up.
yeah.
And I think with, to Barbara's question of having these like long-term, it sounds like long-term friendships.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's like those are the places that I want to have courage enough to do something similar to what you did.
Yeah. Yeah. And I honestly, when I think about doing that, I'm going to be 100% honest because I didn't feel uncomfortable saying it.
Mhm.
It was just more like I, I'm not like none of this is in alignment with how I believe, and and it felt like it also landed, if that makes sense, like, that they were
Mhm.
just like it almost seemed to, uh, not startle them, but that might be the word of, like, where it knocked them, you know, not off kilter, but where they paused.
Well, I do wonder too, because of how, like you've talked about in previous podcasts, how people hold you
Yeah,
as being a certain type of person. The
correct,
fact
yeah,
that you were speaking in such a direct, unabashed way toward them,
yeah,
setting a very clear boundary could have been something that they didn't expect from you,
yeah. I think they just expect me to listen
right? Which
times.
you are very good at.
Yeah, so I was but it's like, I'm not I'm not just sitting here listening to this, it's,
Yeah.
like you said, it's to Barbara's question there, I mean, but I also have people at age-old friends personally to me, not
Mhm.
family, to me, like, from high school, um, and some of them I have chosen to pull away from.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a high school acquaintance that it's like, "Oh, we cannot be together on the in this conversation."
Yeah.
I'm not, and I don't feel a need to, like, set such a hard boundary that I wouldn't have a conversation with them
Right,
if they
right.
wanted to,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm not pursuing conversations at this point because we are not, it's just we're gonna go round and round in a circle. Neither
Mhm.
one of us we're both firmly anchored in our opinions. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna get a word in with this
yeah.
person. It's just not
No,
gonna
I would
happen.
agree. Yeah. It's like, I do think, like you mentioned, after 9/11, then, like, we had the Patriot Act, we had Department of Homeland Security,
So
all
much.
all
Yeah.
these things, and here we are without, like, I think as a collective of
Mhm.
America, we have all these new things that we don't have a constitution that has, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, when the Constitution was created, they
Mhm.
couldn't comprehend the stuff that's happening now.
No. No.
And our country's also so large in comparison to when it was created.
Yeah.
But it's also these things we're encountering, this division, none of us have really any tools to cope with it because we weren't it's not something we've encountered or been taught to encounter or
Right.
expected to happen in our country too. So I think a lot of us too are learning on our feet,
Yeah.
uh, while trying to maintain, like you said, strength in our beliefs,
Mhm.
not wavering or feeling like we're compromising. Uh, if that, I don't know if that's, I think that's a word because in the past, I think some of us, like Barbara was saying,
Yep.
non-confrontational personalities tend to compromise to keep the peace, and this is not something we feel is worth keeping the peace over.
Well, and I wanna,
Yeah.
point to something because there's a difference, I think, between compromising and acquiescing, which is a form of fear.
Hmm.
And so one of the things I just recognizing fear in other people and myself is such a healthy, it's like a really handy tool to have,
It is, yeah,
because when I notice, like, wait a minute, I'm going along with something
yeah,
even though I don't believe in it, even though, and like, and I'm noticing I feel scared, even if I'm not in any danger, that's acquiescing. That's fear. It's a form
yeah.
of fear, and I think it's the most one of the most prominent forms of fear. And I when I can recognize it, like, wait a minute, I'm acquiescing right now.
I like that word. It's
Yeah,
kind of like part of, like, would it go under the fawning category too?
totally. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So then I get it. That
Yeah.
makes
And so when I can recognize, like, wait a minute, I'm acquiescing, I'm fawning. This is actually fear showing up for me.
yeah.
And then I can check it out and say, okay, so check it. Am I in any physical danger right now?
Yep.
And if I'm not, I can hopefully I can choose in that moment not to take the advice of that fear
Mhm.
and to come from a place of empowerment instead and just like sort of curtail that cycle of acquiescing, because
Mhm.
acquiescing, when in hindsight, for me, makes me feel guilty. Like,
Yeah, it's, like Barbara used that word, that's a word I've used in my life, like, feeling guilt, and then
hmm,
feeling guilt for sometimes also standing up for yourself, because then
yeah,
you'd get, like, shamed for it or like, 'cause there people
mhm.
used to you acquiescing or and
Yeah, we've
also
trained
that
people. We've trained
yeah,
people
and then
how
I
we are.
also
Yeah.
think sometimes we're told, at least I was, that that's where I would um, confuse it with compromise, like a healthy compromise, because 'cause you'd be like, "Oh, you're
Yeah.
not compromising. You're not," um,
And I think we're treading into like the territory of women's
yeah,
roles in this culture. Um, I think I was pretty well taught to acquiesce.
I
and
was too, yeah,
and
yeah.
if not intentionally by my family, I mean, I think some of it was.
I don't know that it was intentional either. Maybe some of it was intentional because they just believed it.
Yeah, and it was a way to, belong,
Yeah, yeah,
and it was the way we were raised for to be subservient in a lot of ways as women. So interesting. Um, Gosh, I hope we're answering her question.
yeah. I think we are. Yeah. And I'm thinking too, growing up, it was a joke. The people would refer to me in the family as Mother Teresa and my brother as Damien.
Right,
Like, so he was allowed to be a terror,
right.
and I was always expected to be the nun, so to speak, like the good girl, the good,
Yeah.
and so like to the point, I remember I had a smashing party when my parents went away, and they literally blamed my brother, and I even when I was like, I did it, I had the party. They couldn't believe it. They
That's
still to
how
this day.
anchored they were in
Mhm.
how they held
Yeah.
you.
But,
Fascinating.
I know Barbara, I know her well, like, how she asks the questions, so I can understand what she's asking too,
Mhm.
that is, 'cause it's something that is very upsetting to her, just like it's upsetting to you, it's upsetting to me,
Yep.
and, so it's bringing up these personality, that's why I brought up at the beginning, like, the things we can have with our own family regardless of politics. This
Yeah.
is like adding fuel to the fires of, these relationships.
Well, and I know we've talked about it before. I feel like this, sort of atmosphere that we're in of division,
Yes,
being divided from one another, has been stoked.
I
Like,
agree,
it's
yeah.
been deliberately stoked. Let's divide people because, well, if we're divided, we're not as strong, right?
Yeah, my husband refers to it as, my military-minded,
Yeah.
what does he call it? I'm gonna get it wrong, but it's, 5th generation warfare, that's his word for it,
Okay,
and,
tell me more about that.
yeah, and I'm trying to, phrase it because he said it's like I forget, like 3rd generation. I'm not gonna get the generation warfares right, but I know like say 1st generation is probably like swords, axes, shields,
Yeah.
like the way um then getting
Hand-to-hand
into
combat.
more, yeah, and then you get into where we had muskets and the battle, then there's guerrilla warfare, which I don't know if that was 3rd generation, bombs, new 5th generation is more, like cyber warfare.
Informational.
It's, intentional division.
Yep.
That way, if we're divided, we can't see what they're doing behind, and it's a whole other type of a warfare that's more insidious.
Ah,
Um, but it makes sense when
it
you
does.
that is it's exactly what's happening. So how do we bind together in this, you know?
And I think that's why I don't feel compelled to just say, well, they, that us,
Yeah.
them kind of thing. I don't think that that's helpful.
I know. It's
I'm
like the
not
Pink Floyd
compelled to
song.
separate. And I
Yeah,
value connection too. Like I value connection with people. So I don't want to, adhere to this, it's us and them.
mhm,
I do believe it's all us. And I mean that in sort of a universal way. Like,
Yeah.
It's us as a, not just the country, but the world. We're an us.
It's like if that spectrum you're talking about, we're all on this same spectrum. Just
Hmm.
so there's this perception of us versus them. And I will say I fall into that at times. I sometimes feel completely us versus them, but also there is a part of me that sometimes pauses and I look at like those that are I'm perceiving as them.
Hmm.
Why are they aligning with that? Like
Yeah.
you know, whether it's the cult,
Yep.
uh, what is in them that they're afraid of that's being fed?
Hmm.
And I
Yep.
try. And sometimes I feel that they kind of want some of the same things. They just
It's like a different route to the same things. Yeah, I'm very, and I think that if we don't talk to people
yeah,
and discuss these things, it it's going to
I
get us more and more and more divided. And
correct. I
so,
agree with that. So it's like what is the common ground? I mean, we are starting to see like I have, you know, freaking Tucker Carlson, is that am I saying his name right?
yes.
I'm not a fan of his. You know what I mean? But he is right now. I think he is trying to save himself. So there's a part of that, but it's like he spoke out. I think it was yesterday where he's like, I'm no longer a Republican.
Yes. He said he was going to leave the Republican Party. Hmm.
Yeah, and you got the Marjorie Taylor Greene, uh,
Hmm.
you know, Thomas Massey, who I never aligned with his politics. The one thing I have to give him though is he stays true to himself.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I don't align with his politics all the time, but I did with the Epstein files.
Yeah.
So it's like so I feel like it's in a way we're starting to see some of those pieces wiggle, if that makes sense. It's that it's like okay, we're still going to be a motley crew of
Hmm.
Americans with different beliefs,
Yeah.
but can we've got to be able to not that like they're succeeding if they're dividing us.
Yeah. To find our commonality. And I think maybe that's the place to
Yeah. Yeah.
start with these relationships that we have with people who have really extremely different viewpoints, is to
Yeah.
anchor in the commonality. And when there's also having discernment about which part of the spectrum I'm on right now, is this like a direct confrontational moment? Is this
Hmm.
someplace where I need to set a boundary?
Yeah.
Is this someplace where I can start a conversation? And curiosity, I think, is king. Like, if we can back off of our feeling defensiveness or um, feeling a need to wrangle that person and judge
Yes.
that person, if we
Yeah.
can get curious and go like, tell me about how you got to this belief. Like, I'm
Mhm.
truly interested in what got you here and what
It's
you believe, and
it's
that opens things in a way.
I've had to do that with a couple of my clients.
Yeah.
Uh, one who I knew was very far left is
Hmm.
not anymore.
Hmm.
Um, and I could feel myself getting hot if that I could feel it like starting to you know they talk about the haze that comes over the eyes, like the red
Uh-huh.
I
I could
literally
go across this table toward
yeah,
this abortion
yes.
guy.
That's what happened like immediately. It was like
Right.
I turned, you know, it was I was like
Red.
The Hulk S, you know, like it was so but I remember this experience with this person who I do care about and known for a long time and I was like breathe, breathe, breathe.
Mm,
And and I phrased a couple of questions because I did similar, like more like I said, I think you know where I my beliefs lie.
yeah.
And I think we're not here to convince each other of that's not the purpose of why you're here. You know, you're here for a session.
Yeah.
Um, but I asked her, I said, I guess I'm trying I want to understand,
Hmm.
you know, like what is it that you're upset about with say with the um And what I heard is, because it's like I see this person is benefiting from mass health.
Uh,
Like they, because I was like, you also are receiving services, social services that are in place
yeah.
because of Democrats. You know what I mean? So, um, but then what I heard was because there were certain things where it's like it's the middle class that gets lost in the sauce sometimes.
Hmm.
And that is actually in the nutshell what I ended up hearing,
Yeah.
where the and I think I don't believe in like all the awful stuff that's happened to the immigrants, but
Yeah.
to her and her husband is the immigrants get more services and benefits
Mhm.
than other Americans, than the veterans, than them. It turned into this. I'm not saying that they were right in their beliefs, but that was their perception.
That's their perspective on it, which given probably the information that they had received was a valid one as
Yeah,
far as they could tell. And that's where I have to keep in mind, like, where, I mean, it's like you could tap into her humanity by doing that.
I had to hear it because I was
Yeah.
like, I'm really struggling because I know you and I know like you've always been wanting, you volunteer in nonprofit sector, like there's a humanitarian have seen in her,
Right.
and I said I'm really struggling with 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 this,
Yeah.
with your belief around this. So, and she's not the only one I've asked that, and I've
Yeah.
gotten similar responses. It's like they feel they're being neglected.
Right. Yeah.
They're
I feel
not
like
being seen.
that's how this whole MAGA movement started,
Correct.
because Trump was promising things that people had not
Mhm.
been given or received, or
Right.
they were, lacking in so many ways, and he fed that.
So now
Mm,
that's the part I think is the new struggle for me is how can they not see the light right now
I
that
know.
he has failed them in every way,
Like, how bad does it have to get?
right? So so I don't know if that's a bit of not wanting to admit they're wrong.
It's that psychological component, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't I've it is something personally wrangling, I guess might be.
Yeah, and I think that curiosity, when we can, so much of this is self-management,
Mhm.
personal self-mastery, and having discernment,
Yeah.
and also, we haven't spoken about this yet, but also having people who are like-minded, where we can refuel
Yeah.
with them,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that we aren't always feeling like the us them. We can feel more like a we and an us. And
Yeah.
I have a friend who lives in Florida, and they've got like their group of Democrats they get together with regularly
Yeah.
in the pit of Florida.
I know.
And not
I'm like,
all of Florida's pit, I'm not saying that,
no, but I know what you're talking
but the
about.
Trump pit of
Yeah,
Florida.
yeah. Like
Um,
DeSantis just claimed this is family month or something because it's Pride. It was almost like a way to. So I get it. Yeah, it's like
to find your people and be able to get refueled in the presence
yeah,
of the people who are
yeah,
can hear your angst and can hear how frustrated you are, and can hear, like, and you can have conversations, like-minded conversations, like, get yourself refueled, and when you're refueled, you know bring to the table your discernment and your own self-mastery, use all your tools.
yeah. It's good. I remember Daniel, and Daniel was saying this to be funny because he's got the British humor. And
Mhm.
it was when Trump was elected in 2024, and it was like soul crushing. So there was
Yeah.
like this celebration, and he used the term. It's a Christian term, like a Catholic Christian, the ecstasy,
Mm,
agony. Like
yeah.
it was, and that's what he doesn't know. I'll have to tell him that that stuck with me.
Hmm.
Sometimes I use that as like it is like there's this ecstasy and agony, and there's no middle.
No.
There's no
Yeah.
middle.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where the productive piece can happen
Mhm.
here, is to venture as much toward the middle as we possibly can.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think conversations like the one we're having
Yeah.
are part of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And also I think having, like, that sense of humor, like I was talking about Father Nathan Monk with the Hexapod,
Hilarious.
like, sometimes you just have to laugh. You just have to make horrible jokes.
Okay, I'm gonna add a quirk to the end here maybe as we wrap up.
Yeah.
So, what are they calling themselves? The Scottish Army?
Yes.
That
Yes.
have come over to Boston from Scotland for the World Cup
Yeah.
and who are putting traffic cones on the heads of statues.
Yep. Yes. My husband and I've been following them. Are they the ones or is it the English that are buying all the ranch? They're buying out all the ranch and trying to bring the ranch back with them ranch dressing.
I don't think that's the Scots. I think that's
I think that's the British, but it's like another one we're following, and then the Scot like, I love this stuff. I think
yeah.
it's
I mean, they drank Sam Adams out of beer and put traffic cones on statues' heads. I mean,
yeah,
it
yeah,
brought the
that's
whole
we
city
need it.
together.
We need this fun. We do. We need this kind of fun,
Yeah.
um, unity because it kinda creates some unity.
Yes.
So, like, at
That
the end of the day, we're all human. We're
yes.
all humans, like, and we can be silly and hilarious
Yeah.
and have a good time together.
Oh, and find the we the people.
We the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is a good conversation. I'm so
yeah.
glad
I actually
Barbara
feel
brought it up.
I feel good. I feel like I have some even more clarity.
Me too. Me too. And I love that we got this question and we
Yeah,
want
thank you.
more
We
questions.
want more
Yeah.
questions, like, thank you, Barbara, so much for volunteering that question. Because
Yes.
the more you all can give us a question, even if it's vague, we can work with it.
Oh,
If
we'll
you
go
think it's
somewhere.
vague, but we'll go somewhere with it, but it helps us, have direction when we do our podcast that, make it interesting for all of you to tune in.
Yeah. And another interesting note, we are now on YouTube as well.
Yes,
Got that
so
up and going.
exciting.
Yes. Yes. And I think we're going to probably be releasing I haven't said this out loud to you, Jess. I'm thinking we'll release the YouTube ones a little bit after the Patreon ones,
Yeah,
just
that
as a
works.
reward to our Patreon
Yeah, yeah,
subscribers.
yeah, that
And
works.
yeah, this is so please give us your suggestions, ask us your questions. Yeah, we ready to wrap up here?
Yes, I had a very good time.
I did
Forgot
too.
all about the street floods.
Yep. And so after this one gets released, we're on a 3-week schedule here. The next one will be out 3 weeks after that, and after that, and after that.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you everybody for being here with us. We appreciate it. And as our final send off,
Yes.
may the
May the
force
force be
be
with
with
you.
you. Bye, everybody.